Hey, what's going on, guys? I'd like to welcome you all here. This is my budget podcast studio, so sorry if it's not up to speed or up to par, but I'm working on it. I'm getting it together, so no worries. But yeah, so I'm here, super excited. You guys can already see by the title of the video that I am officially detransitioning. I know that does not necessarily set well with many of you, as a part of the trans community. Because it's usually a hard hit when someone comes out and says, oh, I'm detransitioning, because a lot of times when, these stories come out, the people who stand against the community will, in fact, weaponize these stories.
This attitude in the trans community that if you question your transition, that makes you insane.
And say, oh yeah, you see that guy right there? Yeah, he didn't like it, so he's out of there, and so are you. So it's like, yeah, it's understandable. But at the same time, even with the detransitioners that come out, they end up being completely ostracized by the community as a result of that weaponization.
It is difficult when you realize that you need to detransition for a variety of strong reasons, and then the community you were part of rejects you.
And sometimes even the detransitioners would use their story to weaponize it against the trans community. So it's just a big mess when it pertains to detransitioning. However, my detransition is not necessarily the kind that you are accustomed to, because I'm staying trans, okay? I'm staying trans, okay? So surprise, okay. Yeah, I'm still gonna be identifying as a trans man.
You are a transgender.
However, I would much rather say that I am detransitioning from the social conditioning of the trans community. Now, what does this mean? I mean, for the most part, it just simply means I am completely disassociating with the trans community and the establishment. But as far as my identity and what I represent, I will always be as such unless I come to a different conclusion with my life. But for the most part, that's just kind of where I stand with it. And yeah, I mean, it's really that simple for me. I've noticed that a lot of my views, a lot of my values, a lot of my morals just does not remotely align with the trans community. And if you at all think differently from what is popularly believed in the community, then you are therefore ostracized. You are therefore pushed to the side and told that you are a grifter, that you are appealing to your oppressor, and that you are a TERF, and so many things. I mean, I've been accused of the whole book, anything that anyone can be accused of, I was accused of. I'm giving into white supremacy, like shit like that. And I've recognized rather quickly that I just don't want to have anything to do with it. Of course, I will, at its core, I will fight for trans rights. I will fight for our rights to be here in America and to exist and to thrive as human beings. But I'm just not going to be doing it next to y'all, next to that group of individuals who just can't seem to tolerate difference in thought. There's this idea that if you think remotely different from the trans community, then you are imposing violence against your own people. And it's like, no, I just don't agree with you. And it's really that simple. But this language that's being developed in the trans community will therefore, in fact, do the very thing that they are afraid of happening to them, which is the idea of dehumanization. You are dehumanizing, I can't say it. You are dehumanizing the people who simply have different beliefs than you. Just the fact that I say that a woman is an adult human female and a man is an adult human male, that is blasphemous. The blasphemy, like, that's literally what it is. If you remotely utter such words in the community, if I go into a room full of trans people, I would probably be burned at the stake because of that very statement that is in fact true, but somehow it is deemed blasphemous in the community. And it's the fact that people within the community can't seem to believe that two things can be true at the same time. And I find it quite laughable that we cannot say that a woman is an adult human female, and somehow that disenfranchises trans women or disenfranchises the females who don't identify as women, when it doesn't. All you have to do is simply acknowledge that this is the core definition of this particular term, and from there you branch out. I also don't agree with the imposition of new terminology, new terminology meaning cis or cisgender. I don't stand with that. I'm sorry. I understand that trans women and women and or trans women and trans men want to be included, including the non-binary individuals and everything else. But you're fine. You just stick to what we've already been doing all this time and just grow from there instead of this useless imposition. Because what a lot of the trans community is not realizing is that we're that's not what we're fighting for. You know, this is this is kind of like what happened with the BLM movement, and when all the companies out there started like changing the word, like the terminology of certain things, like master bedroom is no longer master bedroom, now it's like primary room or something like that. Like, do you not realize that that does nothing towards the movement itself? It does nothing towards actually growing the community and people having their rights. Or, you know, changing master bedroom to primary room is not going to change the fact that black people are getting murdered in the middle of the street. Y'all think that that's what's gonna change it? It's not. And so it's the same thing with cis. Like, it's not gonna change anything. At the end of the day, it's about our rights. That's what we're fighting for. We should not be fighting for our right to call people what they don't want to be called, because then they will just impose their right to call us what we don't want to be called. But for some reason, me stating that makes me transphobic. I feel like there's just a better approach than what we're fucking doing. Trying to change the terminology when there are literally trans people who are getting murdered, like right now. I don't think that someone referring to a woman as a cis woman is going to change the fact that someone is getting murdered as we speak. And that's where my focus is. I don't care if a woman calls herself a cis or not. That has nothing to do with me. But what does have to do with me are the individuals who are actually suffering. But it's not because that the women don't want to call themselves cis, or the men don't want to call themselves cis. It has to do with hatred. And just because someone does not want to refer to themselves as cis does not mean that they hate you. It just means that they don't want to be imposed upon. That's hypocrisy. And that's the bottom line for me. For me, this is like the icing on top. The fact that we are becoming the people that we hate. Oh, well, because we're not privileged and they're the privileged ones and they have to check their privilege, and therefore we have to do what they do to us. No, that's not how that works. If that had to have been the mindset, then black people by now would have been enslaving white people. That's not how this is going to work. And it's quite literally counterproductive. Becoming the people that you hate will only continue the cycle of hate. And that's counterproductive, in my opinion. But that's why, you know, I personally just don't want to be a part of this community anymore. One of the things that I value as a trans man is my trans marker. Now, so many people will come up to me and say, oh, well, it's an adjective. It's an adjective. It's an adjective. Like, okay, I don't give a damn. Stupid is an adjective too, and that's what you're being. So Nonetheless, I hold on to that because my trans marker is what sets me apart from any other man. A man will never be able to understand what it's like to be me. A biological man, that is. He'll never know. He'll never know what it means to be a trans man who has lived both experiences. And I believe that having lived both experiences is so powerful because I can come at the world from a completely different perspective than what is conventional among biological males. And that's great. You know, I feel like that's what makes me special. That's what makes me unique. If you see that I'm different from you, cool fucking beans. That's what I want. I don't want to be like you. I don't want to look like you. I don't want to sound like you. I don't want to be you. I want to be myself. And that means that trans is going to always exist in my reality. I'm going to always be trans, no matter how I want to paint it and say, oh, trans men are men. Okay, cool. I'm a trans man. And that's, for some reason, me saying that too is blasphemous in the trans community. I'm like, did I miss the memo where we just stopped calling ourselves trans people? Like, did I fuck something up? Like, I don't get it. And, you know, all of a sudden, like, it's wrong to call myself a trans man rather than just a man. Like, yeah, I understand that socially and throughout everywhere I maneuver, people are going to see people are going to see me as a man. So yeah, sure. But at my core, man, at my core, I am a trans man. That's what's going to always set me apart from these biological males. Y'all ain't got nothing on me. I'm sure y'all can beat my ass, but but y'all can't push a baby out of you. So so like, man, y'all won't have nothing. Y'all won't know what it's like to be me. You get what I'm saying? So I for whatever reason, that's blasphemous, and I would never understand it. And I'm fine with not understanding, you know, why that's blasphemous, because I refuse to subscribe to another cult-like mentality. I just don't care for it. You know, I'll commit as many unforgivable sins as necessary as long as I can keep my own mind. You know what I mean? And of course, I'm willing to learn and have those kinds of discussions, but nonetheless, I stand by my mind and not being peer pressured into believing things that I just don't believe in. And that's kind of like the cake for me. That's it. You know, one of the things that I value about myself is the fact that I don't allow my beliefs to inform my reality, but rather I allow reality to inform my beliefs. And with that, it keeps me balanced. It keeps me from becoming deluded, because the thing is that people will believe a lie before they believe the truth. They'll believe a lie quicker than the truth. Y'all see how quick a lie can spread in various communities? Even just the lie with Jussie Smollett and him supposedly being attacked because of him being a black gay man in America. Y'all see how quickly that lie just was absorbed by the media and absorbed by everybody. But the truth of the matter took a little bit more time for people to actually align with and cope with, that this man actually lied about him being attacked. And so the same thing happens within communities that have cult-like mindsets. So many lies end up becoming conventional thought. It ends up becoming popular belief, and to the point that everyone believes it. And if you believe otherwise, then you're crazy. If you believe otherwise, then you're just for the other people. You're bowing to the white man. You're bowing to white supremacy. And it's like, no, you're just bowing to delusion, and I refuse to join you in your delusion. I understand that at its core, no one can truly change their biology. But I do believe that we have scientific advances that allows us to get as close as possible to doing that, even to the degree of being able to have biological children with 2 lesbians or 2 gay individuals, or just people who can't seem to be able to mate and create their own child. The fact that we're able to do that now is phenomenal. Science allows that. Now, whether or not it's right or wrong is up to us, and we have to make those kinds of discussions and do the research, but also ensure that we don't overstep certain boundaries when it pertains to science, because it can get dangerous. But nonetheless, there are just things that I don't align with, and of course, because of that, I will be shunned by the community, and quite honestly, I'm ready for it. I'm ready. I don't care, as long as I keep my mind. And like I said, no one's going to peer pressure me into believing something that I don't believe in. It's the same thing that I do with religion. I can talk to people about it all day, but I'm not on your side. Not until I can come to that conclusion on my own. And until then, y'all can forget about it, So with the trans community, I appreciate the part that the trans community has played in my life, in my upbringing of, becoming a trans man. I appreciate the education, but it's becoming problematic. And if we just continue to ignore that, then more problems are going to arise. And this identity of sameness is going to be our biggest downfall. Biggest. The identity of sameness is something not to even laugh about, because it shows that when a community is so fixated on everyone thinking the same or being the same, the moment you're different, you're kicked out, you're exiled, you're fucked. And that is going to be the downfall of the community. Like, real shit. Real fucking shit. And that's why I don't want to associate it with it anymore. This is what I want people to understand, and I'll leave off with this. If everyone's the same, then nobody's different. But if everybody's different, then everybody's the same. What does that mean? That means that it is in fact our differences that brings us together. That's the beauty of differences. But if we're the same, the moment anyone steps out of that identity of sameness, they're exiled completely. And that's a dangerous place to be, because that is quite literally the definition of dehumanization. And that, for me, I will not participate. Y'all can participate. Y'all can do whatever the fuck you want. Spout whatever kind of hate you feel like you gotta spout. But I just won't participate. I'm not in y'all's group. I refuse to call people transphobic just because they have a different perspective. I refuse to call people transphobic just because they say, oh, well, you're still a woman. Okay, you're right. I am a biological woman who identifies as a trans man. Okay, you think you said something that I don't already fucking know? I refuse to delude myself in the midst of all this. I'll still live my truth, and I'll still be happy, and I'll still be proud of who the fuck I am, because this is the upper hand that I have against all these people that feel like that they got something to tell me, is that I don't give a fuck. I'ma still live my truth. I'll still be fucking happy doing it, and I'll continue to learn and grow within that. And if I'm faced with new information that completely dismantles the way that I think, I'll be okay. And I'll just grow with that and keep learning and keep growing. It's an endless loop. That's all it is. All right. But yeah, that concludes today's segment. Hope to see you guys on the next one. But yeah, this is it. I am detransitioning starting today. I am no longer associated nor affiliated with the trans community. But yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. My podcast is coming up. Be ready.